What's up, savages? It's Friday. What's up, guys? So it's really cool to have Yashnik and Mark in here. That's awesome. At least I get to start with some people. Pretty much this whole week. It's been pretty slow. People haven't been showing up. You know, they watch it after. A few people watch it after, but anyway. So last night, I got a recap on last night. We tried to mine Bytecoin. That was the one that was selected, and we ran into a problem with SimPleMining OS. You know, it was throwing a bunch of compute errors and things like that. And I want to say that I think NVIDIA was fine, but the AMD rig was not. So did a little bit of research, you know, troubleshooting and that kind of thing, and found out that I should have known this, but I don't mind kryptonite algorithms that much. So I guess the 18.3 or 18.30 AMD drivers are a little funky with the GPUs and SimPleMining OS. I don't know if it's just a Linux thing or not, but you have to go back to 18.1 in order to mine kryptonite successfully. So I want to say that it applies to any kryptonite coin on SimPleMining. So just wanted to show you that after making the changes and stuff, I am actually mining, you know, successfully Sumo, which, I mean, it was all AMD related, but and then right here is Bytecoin, and you can see right here it's hashing away. Actually, this is a Sumo rig here, or the NVIDIA rig. So it's going. It's not dual threaded or anything. That's why it's only 7.8K there. But let's see. Yeah, kryptonite, man, all day. Such a popular coin. I mean, not coin, but algorithm, because of the privacy and stuff. So it's kind of nice. I like all the coins that are on it. I mean, they're great projects and stuff. So a lot of them. I'm looking at CCX right now, but you know, I mind a little bit of it, not too much. But let's go ahead and get going because we don't have a lot of time. Only half an hour to start mining something. Here's my AMD rig. This is the specs for that. Here's the specs for the NVIDIA rig if we end up on that with whatever the random coin is. And I did do a little bit of more research, and I've got, instead of 132, now I've got 162 coins. So you know, broadening the scope a little bit there. So yeah, it goes all the way to 2 through 162, I believe now. Oh, 161. Okay. So go back to random number generator, 2 through 161. Let's see what we come up with. 147. All right. So let's hit 147. Veronite. Oh man, I was looking at that one. Another kryptonite one. That's crazy how that keeps coming up like that. Okay. I think I want to say I tried to mine this before, but I think I was running into the same problem with the version of AMD drivers I was using. So yeah, this is going to be cool. All right. So let's first go over to coin market cap. Let's see what it's XVV, right? Let's see what they might not even be on here. Nope, they're not. All right, so let's go to Bitcoin talk. Is this the right one? Yeah, that's it. And there's not enough time in this short little, you know, show here to go through all the details of the coin. That's not really what this is about. It's kind of like, okay, randomly picking a coin and then going for it. So this is kryptonite heavy, so we just got to remember that. I already have that documented. So the next thing we'll need is a wallet, which, like I said, I think I already have the wallet, but Let me see if we, oops, let's see if we can, let's get the GUI wallet. Does it sound good and everything? I know my setup here is not great. I'm going to work on it. I've got to get a better mic and stuff. I'm actually using the mic and the webcam, and the rig's on behind me. They're, you know, kind of cause some interference and stuff. And I did set the levels a little bit lower, so hopefully it's not like cracking and popping like it was previously. Oh, okay, so we can go over. BrandonCoin is starting late. I didn't know that. So what's everybody mining? Kryptonite stuff, or I'm curious because man, these are some rough mining times. It's like nothing's really standing out there. I mean, you might hit a couple of days where something pops pretty hard, but all right, did I do something wrong here? Is it in the back or something? Does anybody ever mined Veronite? See, I already clicked create. It must be doing something. All right, let me go over here, see if we can get an address here. I think I've done this one before. Yeah, I have. So we'll just grab this address here. This is a, I've already, like I was saying, I've already done this once. It's been a while back, so we'll just use that same address. Because this might be, I might have to restore it or something because it knows that the wallet's already on this computer, I guess, maybe. Not sure about that. Let's go over here. Veronite. We'll use, let's see, we'll use the AMD rig, I guess. So we'll go XMR stack. So let's get over here to simple mining. I think we need to get on Titan Nick with simple mining and get him to make this a little bit bigger, because even, I mean, I've got a huge display over here and this has always bothered me that it's so small. Alright, so let's go get a pool. Where am I at? Here we go. All right, what pool are we going to use? Let's see if this one's pretty easy. I like to use one where you don't need an account or anything like that. So Kryptonite heavy. Go mid range. All right, so 444. I mean, I've got a rig. Sometimes I'll choose, the high end, but I think it's probably better to start with mid range. What do y'all think? Because it'll adjust, right? Like once it sees what you're capable of, it'll adjust it up. But all right, so let's go grab that. I think this is going to be Kryptonite. Is it underscore heavy? All right. Yeah, like we could go to the GitHub or for XMR Stack and probably find out if we've got this right. I think this is right, but we've got a little bit of time, so we're doing pretty well. So I'll just leave it like that. I always reference this down here because it's the default configuration for the particular miner that you have selected up here. And if you look right here on the later versions of the image, it actually tells you right here what the problem is. If you're trying to mine Kryptonite. I don't know why I didn't see it while we were doing it. Whenever you're kind of rushing through things, you kind of overlook things like that. But we were getting all kinds of weird errors, so it was kind of hard to troubleshoot like on the spot like that. So anyway, figured that out. 1810. If you look at the rig specs over here, the bottom rig over here behind me, the AMD rig, has 1810. I think that this USB drive, this Simple Mining OS drive for the NVIDIA rig has the old, or I'm sorry, the 18.3 drivers on it. So in the case of, if we needed the 18.3 drivers, I could just swap them. So that's why I left it like that. All right, so let's go back over to Simple Mining. We added the group. It was Veronite. Did we add it? What did I name it? I don't even remember what I named it. Did I not add it? I thought I did. It was XVV, right? Good grief. Does anybody remember what I named it? All right, we'll just go back in there and do it again. That's funny. XVV CNH YouTube. Kryptonite heavy. I must have clicked off of it or something. That's weird. $4,444. See, sometimes like whenever you paste it in there, it'll take the space out right here, and you and you won't notice it, and then you're going to have all kinds of problems. And so it's just, this is just way too small. All right, so let's try this again. XVV. Yeah, I must have not, I don't know what I did last time. Good grief. Okay. Rig list. AMD rig. I know I'm going fast, but I want to make sure that we at least get it rebooted one time with it to see what happens. Has anybody been using the group OC, the overclock settings that they finally added to Simple Mining? It's kind of a neat feature that they, like I said, finally added. Lots of other mining software already had things like that. That was like a no-brainer, but it's cool. I'm glad they finally added it. Oh, let me switch this rig over. We can see what's going on. Did I have a PX in there, or did I leave it as, I just left -P, didn't I? Ew, we'll see what happens. All right, I was saying, am I not on the right one? Okay, so this is ahead of that, of course. It's showing result accepted by the pool, so that's a good thing. 7.3K looks like. So for the first time this week, we have successfully first time mined a Kryptonite coin simply because we had the right AMD drivers, of course. So, I mean, we had done it before, but with the NVIDIA rig, it worked fine, right? Because, you know, we're not using the AMD drivers, of course. So we just kept having problems with the AMD rig. So I'm glad to get that sorted out. Well, I mean, that was pretty short. We did that pretty fast. Does anyone want to see how to, I mean, everybody that's on here probably knows how to do this, but how to dual thread? Because like right now I'm only getting 7.3K. I could probably get 10. 1 meg, right? After dual threading. Let me know if y'all want to see that. Otherwise, I don't know what else to do. I didn't have a plan because usually we've been like just running long, you know, and running over and not actually mining anything. So I wasn't expecting to be done this early. But this is cool. I like it. I like success. You have time. Show how you set up the string. Okay, so what do you mean, like in the group config or the miner options? What I do, here's what I do. I don't know if it, I mean, everybody has their own little way, but I look here first, and this is what's going to be in here at the beginning, right? So I look at that, and that gives me a general format to how the string should look. And I understand that we changed this to Kryptonite heavy, but that was only because of experience, only because I kind of suspected that that's what I needed to put there based on, you know, mining things in the past. Where you could get that information from would be the GitHub for the miner. Can help a lot. Bitcoin Talk can help sometimes with the miner because a lot of times they'll do an announcement for the actual miner as well. So You can go to Bitcoin Talk and look up the miner, or you can go to their GitHub and look up the miner. And a lot of times they'll have, you know, the parameters for that miner. And what you'll see most of the time, because most of the time you're going to have what's being shown to you isn't related to Simple Mining OS, right? So whenever you're using Simple Mining OS, you kind of got to remember what's happening here, because you're using the OS to launch the miner. So a lot of times you would see something like, what is the XMR Stack's actual executable? Does anybody know? Let's see. I can probably look it up real quick. Yeah, it's just xmrstack.exe. So what you'll see a lot of times would be something like this. But you know that, you know, your Simple Mining OS, Linux, is what's actually launching the miner for you. So you don't need that part. So you just leave that part off, because that's what's happening up here. Basically, it's kind of the way to look at it. Like, okay, you're letting Simple Mining take over and launch the miner, and here are the options that you want to attach to that miner. So that's the way that kind of works. So another thing I just remembered here, if you go, I think what I can do is delete these configs and just launch this, if I remember right. Yeah, so you can download, if you want to know what the actual options are for the currency, this is something that you can do too, is download the miner on a Windows machine and run it, and then if those config files aren't there, your pools.txt and amd.txt and all those txt files, if those aren't there, if it's the first time you ran it, you'll get this little wizard that'll walk you through this, and this will show you right here what you need to put based on what you're mining as your currency for the XMR Stack miner. So hopefully that makes sense. This is the way I do it. You know, but sometimes this isn't updated, right? Like if you get it, you know, we're talking about developers that are programming things, and sometimes they'll forget to, hey, oh yeah, I got to update, you know, that file that shows what actual currencies, you know, are in this miner. So you kind of have, sometimes if it doesn't work, if you're not getting miner related, well, if you are getting miner related errors, not hardware errors like on your rig, and you're launching the miner and then you're still having problems, you just got to do research. You got to go to Google. You got to type in the errors that you're seeing and try to figure it out. But like in this case, you know, you can see if you're mining Stellite, you know, I don't know, should I just use Stellite or should I use Kryptonite V7 Stellite? I don't know, you know. I think, does Stellite have two different algorithms that it uses? I mean, this is all Kryptonite here. So again, you just kind of have to go and do a little bit of research and figure it out. But this is a good way that I go through and figure out, okay, you know, what do I need to actually put for the currency for this right here. And then this string, the miner options, is always based on what miner you're using. So like you would never go to, for example, you would never go to LOL miner or SG miner or something like that to get the string that you're going to use for XMR Stack, right? It doesn't work like that. You really have to focus on what miner you're using as to what your miner options are going to be. So what do we got going on? Anything else? Yeah, inside of this little box here, there isn't, I don't think that there's a way of, you can scroll the whole screen, like you can zoom the whole screen, which is fine, and I do that all the time. But actually this is just inside of Internet Explorer. What you can also do, I don't know where I'm at now, but in Windows 10 you can also hit the magnifier, you know, and bring it up like this. I'm aware of that. I'm just saying, you know, by default it would be nice if this text was larger. I think probably the reason that they don't do it is because of the actual address string. Because imagine if this was like a 20 size font, right? That you would never get to the end of it because the address string is so long. So that's probably why they keep it small. But you know, I'm getting a little older and my eyes aren't working as good, so it's a little rough for me, but not too bad. Yeah, like what I did was I did press the control and then zoom, you know, hit the scroll on the mouse, and it does scroll it up. But that's a feature of the browser, and I would imagine that most browsers do that. I'm using Brave, but I would imagine that they all do that. I want to say that actually remains the setting for that page. Like if you zoom it up, I think it stays that way. But nonetheless, I still would like to see this, you know, a little bit larger. I think it used to be a little larger whenever I first started using simple mining. It seems like it's gotten smaller as time goes on. Don't know. All right. You want to talk about the market a little bit? What do y'all think about this sideways stuff, man? It is crazy. I saw a really cool. Somebody tweeted, you know, like they were being asked, you know, for advice on how to invest in like altcoins right now, and or which altcoins. And what the person replying to the tweet said was basically, look, if you look at almost every altcoin chart, I mean, it's what you would do is you would pick one that peaked, you know, in December, January, and then fell and went flat and has been flat this whole year basically, and just put your money in there, close your eyes, and that's how you do it. Because I mean, if you think about all these alts, I mean, I don't know, it's not financial advice or anything, of course. I'm just saying that, you know, if you've got a good project and you know that there's good people behind it and it's flat, you know, and it's been flat for so long, I mean, imagine what's going to happen whenever, you know, things start turning around. So I don't know. Thanks for subbing there, Shubby. Appreciate it. So nothing about the market? No thoughts on that? This is the most people I've had in here so far, so I appreciate all y'all stopping by and checking it out. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a cool little show, you know, for 30 minutes, just seeing if you can mine something random, you know. I don't know. I think it's neat. If I was on the other end, I think I would be interested in it, you know. Because I ain't gonna lie, I sit here sometimes and pick some random coin, you know, and see if I can mine it. And that's probably, you know, what led me down this path, you know, to actually start doing this. But I can tell you, what I learned really quick was that if you are constantly messing with stuff and constantly mining different things, unless you have enough rigs to just put one or two on it, man, you're really hurting your profit if you're always playing with it. You really need to get something going on it that you believe in, that you can, that you know, you feel comfortable backing, and let it rock, let it eat. Because man, you keep messing with stuff over and over and over, and you're just messing with profits, in my opinion. Bitcoin Jake, what are we talking about with the? Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? With the SHA-256 hashes. This is a lot of fun. I'm digging it. I don't know what you mean, Bitcoin Jake. All right, so it's 10 o'clock. Do y'all want to keep going until Brandon starts, or do you want to end it here and take a little half an hour break? Oh no, I do not have any ASICs. No, I don't. That's why it didn't dawn on me what you meant, because I was like, what? Yeah, I don't have any ASICs at all. I'm kind of anti-ASIC. You know, there was a time where I started thinking like that a coin that gets to transition into ASICs, it's kind of like a rite of passage in a way. But man, they're so centralized, you know? That's the problem with it. You know, I don't know. I think that even like Ethereum, you know, being on ASIC is kind of like I was saying, like a rite of passage. Like if your network has to have that much hash rate to secure it, then you've kind of can look at it like you've kind of made it, right? But then you're kind of centralized too. So I don't know. That's just the way I look at it. I haven't been around this that long, so I probably my opinion will probably change. But I do believe that GPU mining has a future. I think that there's always going to be some type of project, you know, that you can get behind. There's also projects that focus on specifically not being ASIC, you know. There's a lot of people out there, or a lot of projects that say that they're ASIC resistant and all that stuff. But, you know, I've said it in several of my videos where, you know, look, if it was profitable enough, they would make an ASIC for whatever algorithm you can come up with, right? If it's profitable enough to do it. But there, you know, it's hard, right? I mean, there's a lot of research and development and cost of designing and manufacturing an ASIC, especially in today's world with the shortage of everything, right? All the chips and memory and all that stuff. So, you know, the ASIC manufacturers certainly are looking at, you know, the supply. Is it going to pay off? You know, how you know, they're not dumb, right? So, yeah. They would definitely make an ASIC for any algorithm that you can come up with. And as a matter of fact, like, it's kind of silly whenever you think about the term ASIC. I'm big on like terminology and using the right terminology, because your GPU has an ASIC, right? If you look at the GPU's chip, it'll have an ASIC ID, right? So, you know, it's not necessarily, people kind of say ASIC, and we all know what they mean, but in reality, every you know, GPU has an ASIC, you know, so it's kind of funny to look at it like that. But let's see, my wallet address for Aeon. Well, let's see. I actually should have switched my rigs over. I'm losing money. Just kidding. Put them on. So this is NVIDIA. So that one's definitely going to go to Aeon. This guy is going to go to Ether 1. Yeah, Mark, I agree with that. Sideways market gives us time to collect coins. There's a lot of people at, like, I watch some of the TA guys on YouTube and stuff, or TA people, not just guys. And you know, they all agree that right now, I mean, like I was saying earlier about the alts, you know, you see this huge pump and then the dump and then the downturn, and then it's just static. You know, it's like if you look at it from a distance, you know, from like a year or 2 years or since inception, whatever, you know, that it's crazy to look at those charts, and it's so flat in it, but it's like an accumulation stage, you know. And if you look at each previous cycle of how Bitcoin or any alt was doing at that, you know, at a specific time frame, it kind of follows the same pattern over and over and over. You know, where there's like this accumulation period, everybody's getting in because everything's cheap, and then boom, you know, a little bit more adoption comes in, and then the price goes up again. You know, you see the same thing in 2014. I think there was a lot of pumps and dumps, not dumps, but you know, pumps during what do they call that? A retracing? Is that what they call it? Whenever it comes, you know, goes up like 1,000% and then comes back 90%. Anyway, so it's like the same cycle over and over and over. And right now we've been in this accumulation stage for many months. I mean, we had a couple of little increases there this year, but for the most part, it's been you know, trending down for sure. Let me catch up on the chat here. Oh yeah, I need to get you my address here. How can I send it to you? Through, I could probably pull up. I'm not going to do that. I'll send it to you. Maybe I'll Discord it to you, I guess. Hear that thing cranking up doing Ether 1? Spinning up. The jet's about to take off. All right, I'll do that. I'll send it to you in Discord. Yeah, I agree with the FPGA there, Bitcoin Jake. I think I want to say that the Squirrel guys and Minority and all those are on the right track with combining, you know, the FPGA and GPU capabilities. You know, you offload some of the things that a GPU isn't so good at to the FPGA, and then whenever you do that, you're kind of, you know, basically hopefully competing with at least somewhat close to what an ASIC could do in some instances, depending on the algorithm, of course. I think that they're on the right track. I think there are other companies out there that are doing similar things. It's an exciting time. I really, I don't know. I think that we've been in this ditch for it seems like so long. It's only been, you know, several months really, not even a year, and people are ramping up, man. I really feel like there's just going to be just a sequence of events where hardware is released, you know, new projects are released, or partnerships, or all these different things are going to happen, and it's just going to, you know, it's going to be great again, right? We're going to get to an awesome point again. I really feel like that because, you know, looking at the market over the summer, there was a lot of good news. You know, there was good news that came out, but none of the good news had any effect at all on the market, right? As a whole, you might have a coin or two pump, you know, from specific news, but for the most part, it didn't. You know, but if some FUD came out or some, you know, false stuff, it affected the market in a hugely negative way. So it was really confusing to me why that was happening, you know. I don't know. I ponder things like that all the time. It's like really weird. Why would that happen? Why would such good news not have a really positive effect or an equally positive effect on the market as bad news, you know? Like an ETF doesn't get approved. I mean, who really cares? But it affects the market, right? So it's just weird to me. I agree, Yashnik. We need adoption on the solid projects. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that say this something similar to this. They say, well, you know, and I said this in the beginning too. Whenever I first got into this, I was like, how, like right now, there are how many? On CoinMarketCap, there's 2,000. There were 2,050 yesterday. Okay, there's 2,076 cryptocurrencies, and that's up hundreds in the past few months. I want to say that it's up 300 in the past 2 or 3 months. That's ridiculous, right? I mean, if I'm looking at a coin, and I've said this before too, if I'm looking at a coin and I go to the Bitcoin talk and they mention currency, like that's their focus, sorry, you're turning me off right away, man. You've got to have something more than that. Currency is already done. That's a done deal. In my opinion, that's a done deal. You got to have a lot more than just currency. Sure, there are some out there that are privacy and things like that that might be good. But man, you really got to have something more. All this copying and pasting, projects, I don't like it. And I mean, how many of those 2076 right there do you really think are good? I said this in the beginning, whenever I first got into this. I was like, there can't be that many great projects surrounding currency. There just can't be. So oftentimes I would say there's probably going to be about 50. There are people that say that there's going to be a lot less than that are actually good projects that will survive over, the course of, the future of crypto, so to speak. Probably 50. I'm thinking 50. Some people think it's as low as 5. I think that's a little bit too low. I think that somewhere between 25 and 50 is probably going to be viable, valid projects that are going to stand the test of time in the crypto market. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, the number of forks and all that stuff. It's just not. I don't know. It always frustrates me, And we had the boom in 2017 with the ICOs and all that stuff, and that's a lot of that is from that. But man, I mean, you scroll through here, and it's like the first page is pretty good stuff. I mean, everybody's kind of familiar with the first page, but good grief, you get to even 200s and 300s. I mean, RavenCoin was over here somewhere for a long time, and I understand it's got to do with market cap and all that stuff. But man, out here in the thousands is just, it's like a wasteland of just irrelative projects, I mean, like, this is kind of weird seeing Strax all the way over at 1,000. There's a diamond in the rough, right? Every now and then there's something that's over here in this area, but man, let's go ahead and look at start back at the beginning and see if anything's pumping. Electronium's still pumping. They've been at it for a while. Dogecoin. Where did RavenCoin end up today? I thought they were up at least a little bit. Did I miss it? They must be coming down. Just 3%, not too bad. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get me to disagree that Aeon isn't a good project. That's, did I say that right? Disagree that, anyway. Yeah, Aeon I think is definitely in my 50 that'll make it. That's a great project. I like Litecoin. I like Cardano. I like Ethereum. Ethereum's like my biggest bag that I'm holding right now. Good grief, man! I can't believe that they are down in the $200 range. That just blows me away. But there was someone really popular that said it best. They said, "Look, if you liked Ethereum at 1,000, then you got to really love it at 200, right?" So I think that goes back to, like, once you're behind a project, and you believe in the project, and you know what it's about, and the roadmap and where it's going and what the intention is, and the developers and everybody behind it, You know, I think that's what's important. I think it's, I always say that in a lot of my videos, is that I always think it's really important to know if you're going to hold the coins anyway. If you're just mining for profit, then it doesn't really matter, right? But if you're mining a coin because you think it's popular, you know, or whatever, I think it's important to know what the project's about, you know. Just my opinion, though. What else we got? Yeah, there are coin startups that are expanding, that's for sure. And there are, I mean, look, there's a lot of great ideas out there. It's just, I do think that the market is saturated with a lot of duplicates. Or, you know, there's a copy that only changes one small thing that really isn't going to impact the overall performance of the coin, right? Um, so I think it's saturated. I don't know what to do about it. You know, everybody you can't really do anything about it. If you and I came up with a great idea, we'd be like, yeah, let's do it. You know, let's copy Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. Yeah. I'm gonna go look at what to mine and see what it's saying. Let's see, we'll go with my 11 card rig. Has anybody been mining BitTube at all? I got it to work on simple mining today. I was messing with it a little bit. Uh, it's been the most profitable. Man, I want to say it's been up there a couple of days. And I'll be honest with you though, I used to go to what to mine all the time. I used to live there, you know. And kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, where if you're constantly changing, like I don't do the exchange thing. You know, a lot of people would probably mine BitTube here and then send it to an exchange and buy the coins that they want. I, I I'm kind of the mindset of, you know, get the rig mining something that you believe in and just let it rock. That's just me. It's probably not the most, you know, profitable way of doing it, but to me it's just not worth the time, you know, to keep going back and forth, changing coins. I mean, it's fun. I like mining new stuff, you know, and learning about the other projects. I really like Loki. Loki's one of my favorite. Um, Ethereum Classic I think is going to be huge. BitTube, I'm not that familiar with it. Is anybody in here that is familiar with it? I did start mining it though, for a little bit. Yeah, I really like Loki. Metaverse is good. See what's on page 2 here. Ethereum's down there a little bit. Man, I remember these numbers over here. Oh, it's so depressing, right? But you just can't get married to it, you know? You can't get emotional over it. Just got to keep on trucking, I think. But that's why a lot of people are shutting their rigs off, you know? I mean, I can't honestly say that I blame them, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. You know, if you're behind a project that you believe in, you know, for me, I'll just suck up the cost of the electricity and let it rock and just, you know, hope. I know that I shouldn't be hoping, but you know, that's pretty much all you got in this market. So you just let it go and mine as much as you can, and someday it's gonna moon, right? Nobody's talking. There's 4 people watching and nobody's talking. Except for me. Alright, so it's 10:20. I think I will end the stream. I appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'm glad that I actually had some people to actually talk to this time, because you don't know how hard it is. I mean, you might know, but it is really difficult to talk to this camera like someone's watching while you're talking to the camera and you're doing stuff and acting like, you know, it's difficult because you're like, okay, so what do y'all think? What do y'all think is next? Because I wanted this to be like interactive, so that, you know, I can say, okay, so I'm having this problem and I want, you know, who can help me with this problem, right? And no, nobody's there. So it's been fun though. It's cool. And people are watching them after the fact, so that's kind of neat too. But I really appreciate you guys stopping by. This was really cool. I'm glad that that there were actually people here. And I plan on doing this again next week, each weeknight at 9:30, right before Brandon's show. That's the goal, anyway. Yeah. So I guess that is it. I'll see y'all next week.